Hello everybody. Today is September 9th of 2020. Right, Google?
It is Monday, September 7th, 2020.
So yes, I have to record the video ahead of time so I can get it out on time. But on September 9th of 1999, the Dreamcast was officially released here in North America. And now before anybody gets all pedantic on me, yes, I know it was actually released in Japan on November 27th of 1998. But if we're going by the North American date, technically the Dreamcast is now 21 years old, which makes it old enough to drink. Have a cold one, buddy. Now, unfortunately for this particular unit, it looks like it's already been doing a little bit of underage drinking. And it's had some stuff that's been spilled in here, and it's all kind of cruddy looking. And also right here on the side where the modem's supposed to go. Now, this particular unit is one that I bought in a lot on eBay of several non-working consoles, and this one was missing the modem already, so that's not in there. And apart from looking kind of cruddy, sounds like something's rattling around in there, and I don't know what that's all about. So we're gonna open it up and take a look at that. And this particular unit, if you plug power into it and like a video cable, the power comes on and the light lights up orange, but you don't see anything on the screen, and you actually don't even hear anything going on. If there's like a disc in there, it doesn't do anything. So we're gonna open this up and try to get it all cleaned up, looking really nice. See if we can even get it working. I have no idea what's wrong with it, or if whatever's been spilled on here like damaged something inside. And while we're at it, we may also be doing something about the optical drive. So we'll see what we can do. So let's get it on the bench. We'll open it up and see what's going on. Getting into the Dreamcast is really not difficult at all. There are 4 Phillips screws right here in the corners, so it doesn't really require any special tools. Any regular Phillips screwdriver will do, like a number 2. And that's all the screws loose. We can just tip it over, get the ones out of the holes there. Oh, that's interesting. Apparently this unit's been opened before. Check this out. So we've got 2 black screws in the front. This other black one that was in here in the back, that's different looking. And then this yellow one that was in this corner. I don't know. I don't think that's normal. I have another Dreamcast sitting over here. This is actually the one that I was using to play the videos in the background. You may have heard it. It sounds like a chainsaw. Oh, maybe? Yeah, see, all 4 screws on this one are black, and they're all the same size. So this one's been opened before. That's interesting. Okay, so maybe the whole reason it doesn't work is because somebody's been in it already. And hopefully they didn't do like any permanent damage in there. So let's see what happens if we take this off. Okay, I don't remember how exactly these come off. Oh, okay, so the top comes off. There it is. Nothing that I can see right off the bat. Although the ribbon right there looks like it's slightly pulled out, so that may have something to do with things. Not really seeing anything else that looks obvious, but it doesn't look like any fluids have spilled on the inside of it. At least none that I'm seeing. So there's the ribbon here for the front panel, and that's just held on with a few screws as well. So then this should just lift off, I believe. Assuming these screws are released. Okay, yeah, so there's the front panel. Nothing odd going on here, but I mean, even if there was anything like here that was broken or whatever, I don't think that would prevent it from working. So let's get that out of the way. Okay, this is not going to come off until I take this cover off. So let's get the power supply out of here. Got to be careful with that. Make sure I don't touch the bottom of it, just in case that cap still has a charge. And once that's, I think that's just 2 screws holding that in. It just lifts off. Nothing odd in the power supply either. We may check the voltages on this to make sure that everything is correct. There's 12 volts. As you can see here, there's a 12 volt down here at the bottom, and then there's 3 grounds, a 5 volt, and a 3.3 volt line. It's a little dusty in the back right there by the input connector, but nothing else that looks bad. I've heard that sometimes the caps in these do go bad. These are not bulging or anything, so the only way I'd be able to check them is to test them with a multimeter. Okay, I believe the optical unit just lifts off. Okay, I think we're gonna have to take the... Okay, we gotta take these screws off, and then the optical unit comes out. Okay, see, there's like a mishmash of screws going on in here too. Like, here's one of the black ones that I believe was supposed to go on the outside. So, these two look like they were originally the case screws. These two look like they may have come from something else. These do not look like something that would have been used inside the console. And all these kind of yellowish ones were the ones that we would have expected to find all over the inside here, but there's another black one right there too. So I really doubt that that was actually supposed to go in there originally. And actually this one feels like super loose. So yeah, it's another long one. So now the optical unit, I should be able to just pull it right off. Yep, there it is. See a bunch of fingerprints on here, so it's like definitely someone's been in here touching around stuff. Oh, look at that. So there are two screws missing down here. One right there and one right there. And there's a couple black ones right here, so I'm wondering if those were the original screws that were supposed to be down here. These black ones, I don't know. The last time I took one of these things apart was a few years ago, so I don't remember what exactly all went where, but I'm a little worried about what's going on in here now. So underneath the case here, nothing weird. Oh, actually, this was missing 3 screws because there's 2 here and 1 there, and it only had the 2 on the bottom. Huh. Well, let's see what's going on the opposite side of this board. Okay, looks like I can just remove this bundle. Okay, so all these wires come out. Looks like I should be able to just slide this whole thing out. Or not. Oh, geez. Alright, someone kind of did a number there to that ribbon cable. I'll show you here in a sec. And then this spindle and the laser assembly and everything will just come out. Right there. That's the cradle part. And yep, yeah, you can see the ribbon there's been kind of partially pulled out, and there's some damage right here to the ribbon cable. I don't know if they've actually damaged like the trace or the traces in the actual ribbon cable. This just all pulls out. Not seeing any physical damage on the board or anything burnt. But as I mentioned, we may not even be using this. So I'm just kind of looking in here just to see what's going on and see what's been done. Yeah, you can see right there though where it's all been kind of, looks like it's been yanked or something. You can see it's all creased. There's some crappy buildup right there on the fan, and on the opposite side you can kind of see some stuff right there on the fins. And there's a few more screws down here. We're going to take those off, and that should allow the main board to come out. But I also got to remove these screws right here for the fan to come out because the connector is like inside somewhere. Actually, although if I remove these 3, looks like the casing here should come out, so I should have access to that connector. So let's go ahead and remove them. And jeez, everything's loose in here. Yeah, all these screws are loose, and pretty sure these are not where they were supposed to go originally. Alright, so okay, I think these have the pads for the main chips there, and dropping screws in there. Okay, there's a CPU, and then all the other stuff, memory and all that junk. Not seeing anything spilled in there either though, so that's good. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so the fan's not even connected. The fan was supposed to be connected up here on this board, and I was wondering why this connector was just kind of out there in the open. That's where the fan was supposed to go. Well, let's pull the main board out, see what's underneath. And that's it right there. There's not seeing any corrosion or anything. At least not on the top side. Check the bottom. No, not really seeing anything here either. No sign of liquid damage anywhere in here. This all looks fairly a clean. I mean, it's dusty, but it's not nasty. Got a dead bug right in there, but that's not that bad. This should just come out now. Yeah, not much going on in there either. This could just use a nice little dusting and it should be fine. There's a power switch, but there's obviously nothing wrong with the power switch. As I mentioned, the orange light does come on. The console just doesn't really seem to do anything. And there's a fan. That definitely needs a bit of a cleaning. Quite a bit of an accumulation of dust and stuff in there. I'm obviously going to have to take apart some of this stuff in here too if I want to be able to wash it all completely. And it's just a few screws in here. See, we got a spring for the button, for the open button. The soft eject mechanism. This is part of the hinge for the lid. There's some foam in here, which I should probably remove before it gets all damaged. Oh, it's glued in there. Never mind. Alright, this is not something you'd really want to try out of the case because there is mains right here, and that is high voltage. So that section of the board is kind of dangerous at the moment. We're going to test the voltages on the output and see what's going on to see if there's everything that's supposed to be here is present. So we're going to push the power button, and now this unit is powered on, right? Yeah, okay, it's powered on. So this line right here, this is ground, these three are ground. This should be 3.3, and it's about 3.4, yeah, it's in that range. It's probably jumping around a bit because there's no load. Let's see the 5 volt. That's pretty much right on 5, and let's see what's on 12. 11.5, 11.6, yeah, I mean that's close enough, so looks like the power supply is not a problem at the moment. So yeah, I'll just give this a quick dusting, and we'll partially put it back together without the optical assembly and see if anything happens, because I'm not seeing anything that looks like it's an obvious problem on the board. Okay, we're going to try something here. I don't know enough about the Dreamcast to know if this is going to make a difference or not, but I did clean up the fan a little bit. I haven't like washed the shroud here or anything like that. I just blew out all the dust and I plugged it back in. I don't know if the main board has to see like that there's a pulse coming in here from like the tack line, and if that makes it so it doesn't completely power up or whatever. But I'm leaving the disk drive disconnected for now, and all I did was kind of dust everything and just kind of give it a partial cleaning here just to make it look a little nicer. But we're going to plug power back into it and see, is this off? This is off, okay. And I've got the video connector plugged into the back. We're going to see if anything comes on the display. So I'm just going to plug this in here, being careful while I do so. Okay, and I mean we'll see this LED right here light up orange if it's powering on. I mean it's just power on, not the video itself, but let's see what happens. And it's on, lights orange, fan's spinning. I see that on the display came on, but there's still no video. Whoa! Oh! It's actually working. Yeah, I didn't do this before when I was trying to get it to work. I'm wondering if it's trying to communicate with the disk drive unit here now. Hey, that's a step up though. It certainly was not doing this the first time I tried this, before I even took it apart. Let's go ahead and plug this board in just for S&Gs. So I'm doing absolutely nothing here. I'm just going to plug the connector here into the main board where it's supposed to go. Okay, and basically this switch right here is the one that, oh, I didn't see that. Right here there's a switch on the board that kind of tells it, is this thing drifting? No, I should probably, oops, sorry about that. I'm gonna lock this here. Okay, so this switch right here is the one that indicates when the lid is closed. So let's power it on and see if it does anything different now. So it's on right there. See what happens up here. Okay, Dreamcast logo. Aha! Hey, it works. Let me get a controller. I'm going to plug it into the first port, and we'll set the date and see what comes up. Alright, let's see. It's September 7th, 2020. 2020, and right now it's 11:20 a.m. Not that this matters, I'm just setting it just us. Okay. Sweet! It's working! Well, that's cool. At least I didn't have to really troubleshoot anything. Is it the fan though? Let's turn it off. We'll disconnect the fan and turn it back on and see if anything happens. Okay, so it's off right there. Now I'm going to unplug the fan. These wires are super delicate though. I want to break them off. Well, if I yank it by the wires, of course I might break them off, but there we go. Okay, so fan's unplugged. Let's power it back on. Let's see if it still works or not. Wow, so it needs the fan to be plugged in. I did not know this. Let's see what happens if we plug in the fan while it's powered up. Now the fan's spinning. And it comes on. So it's the fan. If the fan's not working, it won't come on. Oh, that's crazy. What happens if, now I'm curious. Let's turn it off. I'm just going to hold the fan and stop it from rotating. So as you can see right there, I got my finger on the fan, or thumb, and I'm hitting the power button. Fan's not spinning. The unit's on. Nope, no video. I'm going to let go of the fan. Now the fan's rotating. And now the screen comes on. So that was it. They might have like put it back together and left the fan unplugged and thought there was something wrong with it, I guess. Well, sweet. I'm happy about that. Alright, the rest of it is apart. You can see how the buttons here are kind of nasty on the sides. As well as the open button right there. Gonna have to re-grease these once I clean them all up, and that's all the crap that's in there. And there's the lid. Alright, so we're gonna go and get all these cleaned up and we'll be back. It's been a few hours now since I took this thing completely apart to clean it, and all the case components actually came out really clean. A lot better than I was honestly expecting. So that's the top of the case. It was pretty yellowed. It's I don't know if it was too visible on the video, but it was quite a bit yellow up on the top. There's still a little bit of yellowing like up here in the front and down here on the bottom piece. The side just slightly kind of, you can see there's a little bit of a difference there between the two pieces. But overall it cleaned up really well. So we're quite surprised by how this one actually turned out. It actually looks better than my other one does that I've got sitting here. You can see how that one's slightly a little more yellow than the top of this one is. So yeah, this was the cleanest one I had up until now. So it outdid it. And so I mentioned that this one didn't originally come with the modem, but I did order one on eBay, and I've got it right here. And unfortunately, there is a little bit of color difference, or like the shade right there. You can see how this one is slightly more yellow compared to the modem itself. So, I mean, at least that way it's going to be complete, and it's not going to have this like gaping hole on the side there. But yeah, so that's that. Everything came out really clean. The little fan shroud there, I cleaned all the crap out of that, so that looks pretty good. I also cleaned the fan as well, so all the fins there, the casing itself, everything nice and dust free. So we're going to start reassembling everything now. There's also the buttons. They cleaned up pretty well on all sides and on the inside, so everything looks pretty good. So yeah, we're just going to have to put this back together now. And just some of the things like this sort of little slide here that latches the lid open and close. They're going to need a little bit of lithium grease because that's what they had, but I've got that laying around. So other than that, we're all ready to go. Okay, that's the top cover. Oh man, I scuffed it a little bit. Dang it. I'm going to have to clean it up a little bit now. Darn it. Okay. Well, anyways, That's all done. Pretty smooth. I wanted to see where all the screws were originally supposed to go. This is the Dreamcast that I've been working on, and this is my other working Dreamcast. And so I wanted to see where the gold colored screws went and where the black ones went. So I opened it up so I can compare, and it turns out that all the screws like along the back here are all supposed to be black screws. So there's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I only had 2 that I can use on here if I used the other 4 for the case. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use these 4 to fill in the rest of the holes that are missing here, and then I'm going to go through my tub of screws and try to find 4 more that are about the same size and everything to use for the case. So now this thing's about, I don't know, maybe like 90% reassembled. And the whole reason why I said we're not going to put the optical reader back in here is because we're actually going to be installing this thing. This is a GDEMU, and I just recently found out about these things, and it turns out this is actually a clone. This is not one of the originals, and this was like $70 or so. This is a 5.15B version, and one thing that I had kind of looked up in my just general research about this thing is that I guess the B version on some of these is supposed to have an Atmel ATSAM 3U2E, but this one has the 4E, which I really don't know what the difference is. And basically, it's if you don't know about these, it's a SD like emulator for the disk drive. So you just put your files on an SD card with a little bit of you gotta have like a certain folder structure, as I found out. The actual games need to be in like folders, like numbered from 01 through, I don't know, however many you got, I guess. And one other thing though is that this connector down here, the one that's supposed to interface to the main board, instead of using like an entire connector, they cut it right there. It's like 1 pin short, but it doesn't look like those pins are used for anything. So it seems a little janky there. You can see how it's just kind of abruptly ends right there. It doesn't have that sort of end piece. But I mean, it fits. And I guess the way this is supposed to go on, which is also seems a little janky, is that you put these standoffs on. So these just clip on the bottom right here in these mounting holes. And then this just pushes onto that connector. But because these standoffs are a little tall, and because there's like something right underneath that one, you can see how it's sort of like lifted off the board there. So it's all kind of sideways. Not too thrilled about that, if I'm being completely honest here. So I think maybe we'll pull this one out, at least just on this side. The ones on that side, that's a little better. It's still kind of, if you look at it from the back, you probably see it better. So it's higher on this side than it is on that side. So I guess there are some files you can 3D print that gives you more of like a drive tray sort of thing for this, but I don't have that, and I didn't buy one that came with it, because there are some that do come with it. We'll just make do with this for now. We'll test it out and see if it works. Fast forwarding a bit here. So I was able to find 4 screws that kind of match the originals a little better. So these are the ones that I'm going to use for the case. And I've got this all set up. I got it connected. I haven't done anything yet. I haven't tested it. Got a controller. And I'm going to be using a VMU here because according to what I've read, the GDEMU software that'll load on this will actually show up on the screen here. So we're going to plug that in. So I was originally going to do the GDEMU by itself and do like that whole manual folder assembly thing and renaming and all that stuff. But then I found out, I was kind of looking online, I found this website called Retro Games Ultra, and there's a bunch of information on here about installing the GDEMU into the Dreamcast, which is not something I really needed to know because I'd already kind of done that research. But there was a thing on here, there was like a link somewhere. Somewhere. Anyways, I'll link this down below, but there's oh, here it is. So this a little application is called SD Card Maker for GDEMU. It basically does everything for you, and over here on the side I actually already built an SD card. So I'm just using an 8 GB SD card that we're going to test out in the Dreamcast here, and I just put a couple of ROMs on there just to test it out. And basically what this does is it makes everything for you. All you have to do is load this up, point to the where your card is, whatever drive is showing up on your PC. You click the plus, you pop in your ROMs or wherever the location for those is, and it should automatically make everything for you. So if everything goes okay, this should work, and it says done right there, meaning that it completed successfully. So it looks okay. So I'm gonna take my SD card out of the reader here, and this is just an 8 GB card. We're gonna pop it in, and I gotta switch the monitor up here over to the video input again. All right, so if this works, we should see something on both the VMU display, and I mean, we should also get something on the main display. So plugged in everything, got the SD card plugged in. Yep, it's all in. Let's see what it does. And power. That beep there, that was the VMU here, and we see that we get the Dreamcast logo come up on the screen there. So it looks like it's working so far. And oh, I guess I gotta say date and time. Let's do that real fast. I only have one day to complete this. Okay, so that's the date and time set. I guess I should turn on the volume on the thing and see if just says play. Okay, does it even show anything? Okay, we'll see if it boots from the SD card now. And I'm gonna turn up the volume here a little bit. Yeah, there it is. So it says GDEMU on the VMU, and we got the menu popped up on the display there. So it looks like it is working. Let's just try Sonic Adventure, since I know that should work. Load that. And again, it goes through its splash screen. Whoa, it looks like it's working. Oh, yep, it says Sonic Adventure on the VMU. Yep, that totally booted. Sweet. Yep, that's working totally as expected. So, no tweaking, nothing.
Select a memory card. Select a file.
Yeah, that's... Let's see how fast it loads, because I know that it would take a while before when you just run this off a disk, but...
Let's get him.
Dang, that seems pretty quick.
Hey, Sonic. Long time no
I want to see when you go to like a... Come on, can I skip all this? The shatter! Alright, I know when you get to like one of those areas where it has to like load a new section, it would usually take a bit, so we'll see how quick it actually is. Oh, dang it. I knew where I was going. Oh, went around. Okay, let's see. That seemed to load pretty fast. Now, one thing I did see mentioned in some places is that the 12-volt line on the power supply, once you remove the original optical drive, is that I guess there's no load on it, so it runs hotter. And that would be this transistor right here that's doing like the linear regulation. At the moment, it doesn't really feel all that warm. But they say that the power supply on the 12-volt rail runs a lot higher, like 14 volts or so. So let's go ahead and check it real quick and we'll see what we're looking at. And it's saying 13.3, which is not that bad, but supposedly what some people do is they'll either use resistors to jump it there to put like a little bit of a load on it, or they just completely disconnect it, And if it is true that it's not being used at all, what I'm probably just going to do is I'm just going to basically disable it here. I think it was this resistor that rectifies the transformer for that regulator. If it's still working fine, then I might as well just leave it disconnected, because I don't think the fan runs at 12 volts. I think it's like a 5-volt fan, so it shouldn't even affect any of that. Okay, change of plans. So I was going to kind of try to figure this out a little bit more. I did take the board out and I looked at it. It looks like there's a link in there between this heatsink and these capacitors, like way down in there. That appears to be from the 12 volt over to what seems to be kind of like the feedback for the regulators. And also I noticed when I kind of checked here with the thermal cam that right there, that orange spot that you kind of see in the crosshairs, I think that's the 3.3 volt part of the regulator. I haven't like completely reverse engineered this at all. So yeah, the 3.3 volt regulator appears to be like the hottest thing in here on the power supply. The 5 volt and the 12 volt looks like they're doing absolutely nothing. Even just touching the heatsink right here, like, it feels somewhat warm, but really not like anything even like noticeable. It's just barely like warmer than like ambient, but this one here does feel pretty toasty. So I don't know if this 12 volt being a little bit higher here has any effect on that at all. I'm probably just not gonna concern myself with this too much right now. I'm not sure exactly what they mean that this thing like runs hotter with that 12 volt, but it's still only reading about 13.3. And then if I check the 5 volt and the 3.3, the 5 volt is like pretty much like right on 5, and then the 3.3 is like 3.3 something or other. So they're really not far off. The only other concern with regarding heat, and it's something that 3D printed tray and the other attachments kind of address, is that because there's no more drive here, basically this whole area is open, and it's air is kind of allowed to kind of sort of go in here, because when you put this thing on, when this is on, there's like a huge gap right here where normally air would, you know, kind of like flow through the vents or whatever and make its way across and out the fan. Now there's like the ability for like air to just kind of go through here, and it's gonna like not cool down components properly. I don't really intend to be using this like 24/7 or anything like that. So the only other thing I thought we could do here as kind of a conclusion is just do a load time test between the GDEMU and this one here with the stock optical unit. So I'm going to pop a disk in here, and then I'm going to load the same image off the SD, and I can't do them both at the same time because I don't have like two video cables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like run the disk first and hold up the stopwatch, and we'll see how long, you know, it takes to go between like areas or whatever, or just kind of like load the game. And then we'll compare it to the times on this and see how much faster it actually reads from the SD card.
Let's get him! Let's get him!
I didn't really have a good methodology planned out for how I was going to time the games exactly, loading from disk versus the SD card. But as we see here on Sonic Adventure, it definitely was a lot faster loading from the SD card than the disk. And the way I decided to do this is just start from the main menu and just basically push start the stopwatch, and then just keep mashing A to just get through the menus and see how fast we'd get to the actual game, where Sonic shows up in that little plaza area. And we saw that on the SD card it only took about like 16 seconds or so, and then on the disc, was it 38 or 48? I don't know, somewhere around there, or 36 or 46 or something like that. So definitely a lot faster loading from SD card. And I wanted to try a couple other games off disc and, you know, versus SD card. Unfortunately, the only disc images I have for these are a GDI. And even though I guess it's supposed to be able to work with the GDEMU, I have not figured out how to get that to work yet. and unfortunately I'm really running out of time to do anything with these things, so we're just gonna have to stop the video here. But upgrading this to the GDEMU and giving it a clean and everything was definitely a huge success. So thanks guys for watching once again. I'll see you guys around the bench.